All right, welcome, warrior, to Eat Like a Warrior, where we're going to be talking about how to fuel your body from a place of sovereignty and not from a place of shame. So let's get into it. But first, let's cover what we talked about last time. Our journey so far is how our thoughts create our reality. We've talked about that, and we've talked about how to turn those thoughts into power and how to embody a warrior. And now we're going to talk about how to eat like a warrior. I'm still getting these lives figured out and still trying to figure out. Oh, did I skip a slide? No, I didn't. Okay. All right. Okay. So, the problem with starting a diet from guilt is, guess what? It creates a place for us where we are in that magnet, where we have that anchor that is like basically sticking to us, right? Because when you eat from a place of guilt and shame and not from a place of higher vibration, then it creates that emotional anchor, and then it links to our past failures, and then we start sabotaging ourselves, and it just comes from a place that triggers us in a place of cortisol, right? We've talked about that. So we need to come from a place of forgiveness first. We need to forgive our past selves for our past failures, because up to this point, your diet plans and your workout plans and all of those things that failed you in the past, and it's okay that you failed in the past. You need to remember that it's okay. That is not who you are now, and that is not who you're embodying now. So for this week, I want you to practice radical forgiveness, because you from now on are creating from a place of knowing who you are, what you want to embody, and you are now being conscious about your thoughts and your reactions, right? So today is a whole new day, and you are starting from a new place, and we are anchoring in new emotions. And that is why we took the time to create our warrior self, because you do not equal your past, and you do not equal your past failures. This time, you are fueling your warrior. And we are not coming from a place, like I said, of shame and guilt and regret, because that just creates more stress. And who wants to do that? Not me. And I know you don't. So when I'm not sure I made a slide for, I think I put it, oh, I put it over there. Okay. All right. So we're going to stop fighting our bodies. We're going to stop fighting our thoughts. And every conscious decision that we make around food, we know that it is conscious, because if you're still taking your pictures of your food, I want you to keep taking pictures of your food. I want you to still be conscious about what you're eating. And when you have a craving that you can't control, I think I put this in the wrong place, but it's okay. We're going to acknowledge it, and we're going to acknowledge the feeling like we talked about in our last video. We're going to acknowledge it. we're going to accept it, and we're going to anchor in the new belief. Because we are coming from a place, your food is your fuel, okay? And so you're coming from an aligned action. Food is fuel. It is not a coping mechanism anymore. And if you do come from a place of using it as coping, we're going to take, and like I said, we're going to acknowledge what we're doing. We're going to accept the action that we took, and then we're going to embody a new action and anchor in a new belief. Okay, so, and we're going to talk about, does this choice honor the identity that I want to embody when you make that conscious choice for your food? Remember, you're doing your good mirror work and you're creating that self-love. We want to create that self-love in the kitchen, and we want to eat foods that align with our body goals and that align with our inner warrior who wants to come out and play. Okay, so a warrior doesn't diet and they don't punish themselves. They fuel their body, and they come from sovereignty and love. Okay. That is, if I want you to get anything, it is that we are going to come from a place of love. We're not going to come from a place of guilt and shame anymore. That is the past you. Every food decision must be an aligned action that enhances your energy and your vibration. That doesn't mean that you always have to eat fruits and vegetables all the time. If you want to have like a donut, you can have a donut. It's okay. It's just that this time you're going to have the donut from a conscious state, not an emotional state. You're not going to have the donut because you were feeling sad that day and you wanted a donut to make you feel better. You're having a donut because you want a dang donut and it's yummy. And you just want to have it, and you recognize that that is the place that you're having it. Okay? So, all right. So, first of all, we're going to create our meal plan. And I'm going to tell you how I do it, how I do mine. And what I did is, first, I went to Google and I asked, so I'm still trying to figure out my wording around this. I struggle with fibromyalgia because I don't want to embody it and I don't want it to become me. And I actually believe that I can heal the fibromyalgia. I'm still in the process of figuring that out. So for me, I eat foods that are anti-inflammatory so that I don't have inflammation in my body. So what I did is I went to Google, I did a Google search, and I found all the foods that were anti-inflammatory foods. And then I went and I was like, okay, what are the foods on this list that I like? Foods that I want to eat more of, foods that I want to create recipes around. Okay, now what are the foods that are on the no-no list that I like and I want to have sometimes? So then I found, okay, for me, dairy is on that list. That's a no-no list for me. But I like dairy. I like cheese and I like milk and I like those things. So I make a conscious decision that 80% of the time, I don't eat dairy, but 20% of the time, I found out if I have dairy about once a week, then it's okay, and my body doesn't freak out. So then I know, okay, once a week, I'm going to have a glass of milk, or I'm going to have something, I'm going to have cheese on something, things like that. Now, was I always good at this in the beginning when I was first releasing weight? No, I did not realize that dairy was a trigger for me until later, until I started looking up foods, because my whole goal was to get rid of inflammation, and it still is. So, because I've learned this is something I want to share with you, is if you're having any kind of like issues in your body, like my brother's a diabetic. So for him, he needs to eat low carb, and that's better for diabetics, right? So if you're having any kind of pain or any kind of anything, I encourage you to figure out the foods based on that. I'm going to give you a little bit of guidelines of things that I do to help you. But the thing is this is your body. This is your body, and this is your connection. You should be creating your own lifestyle choices based around the foods that you want to eat on a regular basis, things that may meet your health goals. Not eating donuts every day. Donuts are saved for donuts and ice cream and cookies, and I don't know. For some reason, I must be craving those things because that's what I'm thinking about. Are 20% of the time, and the other things are 80% of the time. And you can choose, like I said, when you eat them and when you're making a conscious choice to eat them. Because from now on, you're eating consciously. You're awake. You're awake. You're not asleep anymore. You know that you are a warrior. And so you're going to make those conscious decisions. And remember, when we're conscious, then we're coming from that place of knowing. So no more shame, no more guilt, no more anything. You consciously know what you're doing. So I have in the past struggled with emotional eating. And sometimes I will find myself, because I'm still practicing, we're all practicing, coming from a place of alignment. So sometimes I'll be like, get emotional, and I'll notice that when I'm really emotional, I crave sugar. So now I just notice that, and I'm like, okay, what is something that I can have that is sweet, that is not sugar, that I can have that will serve that craving? And then I think of something that I like, and if that doesn't serve my craving, then I think of something else, and then it's like, okay, that didn't serve the craving. So either I will say, okay, I'm going to eat it tomorrow, and if I still want it tomorrow, I'm going to have it, because I try not to keep that stuff in the house. So it's like, if I'm still having, and if I do have it in the home, and I'm like, oh, okay, why do I want this craving? Do I want it because it sounds good, or am I coming from a place of emotion? Does that make sense? So I kind of analyze it, and I address it from that place so that I make sure that I'm never, and I'm not saying that I'm like perfect, because remember, we're not perfect. We're making progress. So I'm not going to say I never complain from an emotional state, but sometimes I do. But what I've discovered is it's what you do 80% of the time that moves the needle. It's 80% of the time, and it's that 20% that can be adjusted and played with. So it's what we embody on a regular basis. And the more you practice the 80%, the more you can push it to 90. And, it's a practice. And some weeks are going to be better than others, and some are going to, some are going to be better than others and some aren't. So 80% of the time you want to have, let's see if I have my slides. Oh, I do. Okay. So 80% of the time, what I try to do is I prioritize protein first. So I start with my protein, because protein gets you full faster. and it keeps you fuller for longer. And then I just think, what are foods that I like? Well, I'm not a huge chicken fan. I do like beef more, but I have found that if I eat too much red meat, it causes me more inflammation. So for me, I'm like, okay, how can I make this chicken yummy? And I'll give myself steak 20% of the time and red meat 20% of the time. And I'll try to eat chicken or fish. I really do like fish a lot. But chicken is like, how can I make it yummy? And so then I go to Google again and I just start looking up recipes that are, I'll type in like healthy recipes, or I'll type in like, or if there's something I'm thinking of that I'm like, ooh, that sounds kind of yummy. What could I eat? Like chicken enchiladas or something. How could I make chicken enchiladas dairy free and still have them taste yummy? Like things like that. That's what I'll do, is I'll just go to Google and I'll just start typing in ideas and trying to figure out. I take the original recipe and then I adapt it to either what I have in the house or what meets my goals of things that I like. It's not very hard. It's very easy, actually, I promise. Another thing that I really like is I kind of like snacks a lot. So for me, I like having like grapes, so I'll portion out some grapes and some nuts, and like I have like little cracker things that I make. I learned how to make sourdough crackers, and so I just kind of got into this kick of making my own crackers. But like I'll make my own what is the word? An adult Lunchable. That's the name. An adult Lunchable. I love those things. Like I'm a very snacky person. So I'll make my own of those, or I'll make my own, like, tonight I made a homemade chili. Like, anyway, you do not have to stop eating the foods that you love. The other thing that I do is I portion size stuff. So I prioritize protein, like I said, and I try to eat high protein foods. Then the next thing I go for fruits and vegetables on my plate. And then for me, I do better with like grains, and potatoes and things. My body does better with higher carb and lower fat. You're going to have to adjust and figure out what your body does. Like I was saying, for the diabetics, like my brother, he would do better with a lower carb diet and a higher fat diet. Me, my body doesn't like that. It causes me a lot of inflammation. These are things that you are starting to be an investigator of. You are doing research on your own body. And another thing that I do to make food fun is I find like fun vegetables or fruits or things like that I'm like, I don't even know what this is, or I've never even tried this, or I don't even know how to cook this. Go to my old friend Google or YouTube or whatever, find a recipe, and I'm like, oh, this will be fun. And I make it fun. I make it a fun experience. And my daughter told me tonight, she was like, yeah, eating healthy is easy, Mom, because you just make it fun. And it's like, yeah, you can make anything fun, or you can make anything happy. Just, it's all about reframing your thoughts, right? That is what we have been embodying, is reframing our thoughts. But like I said, I don't really cut out foods. I still have them. I just do it in moderation. And I remember when I'm eating that it's like, okay, I need to have more protein because I know that's better for my body, and I need to have less carbs, and then hardly any dairy, and then, fill in with fruits and vegetables. Those are what are going to get me full, is the protein and the fruits and vegetables. And then I can have the little, I love to make sourdough bread. So then I'm like, oh, I can have a sourdough piece of bread. I don't calorie count, but I am very mindful of what goes in my body. And I think about it when I'm eating. And I eat to the point where I feel satisfied, but I don't feel full. Because the thing is what I had realized before when I was holding on to all of that weight, I was eating past the point of full and I was making myself sick. And then when I eat to the point of full, again, I don't want to reach that point of stretching out my stomach again. I've spent so much time, and your stomach will shrink. I promise. Mine did. It does over time. The doctor told me that, and look it up. I should have had something to verify it, but whatever. You can look it up. As you train your body will adapt. And your body will start craving those type of foods that you really like. Like me, I crave grapes. I love grapes. Like if I could keep grapes in the house on a regular basis, but my kids really like them too, so they eat them way too fast. But it's like that's something that my body craves, that I always want, and it's a sweet thing and it's crunchy and it's just find your thing. Research, because I know there's things out there. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. Oh, another thing that I do, I talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again because hydration is so important for your body. So what I do in the morning is I make sure that I'm hydrating myself first thing, and that I'm putting that water. If I'm drinking a bunch of water before I eat, then like a lot of times when you feel hungry, really it's your body saying you're dehydrated, because we as humans do not drink enough water. We drink other things and we do not drink enough water. So water is so important for you. It is cleansing and it is healing. And if you don't like the taste of water, put a little lemon in it. Lemon is really cleansing and it helps clear out. It's good energetically and it's good physically. Like lemon is just, it's good. It's high vibration. And that's another thing is I look for foods that make me feel good, that make me feel like have higher energy and feel powered up. Not foods that make me feel like, ugh, and like I can't function. Because for me, I have noticed before my body was sick and I had all of these toxins and all of this stuff that I had built up in my body over the years of eating the food that I ate that was not good for me, like going out to eat a bunch and they put a bunch of additives and things like that. My body was sick and I didn't even know it. Like I had low energy. I had I got cancer, you guys know. So when I decided to consciously take control of what I put into my body, then that's when I started noticing, oh, I feel better and more powered up with certain foods. And I feel like, ugh. And if I eat certain foods, I have a harder time controlling my thoughts because that food makes me feel yucky. It must be a lower vibration food. That's interesting. But again, everybody is different. And so everybody is going to react to different foods and need a different thing that is for them. Like whether it's higher carbs for you or higher fat and protein. If you want to be a vegan, that's fine. You can get high protein being vegan. I did it for 6 months. And then I decided that I wanted dairy. And so that's where I came up with this thing, because the thing is guys, we are not, this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle change. This is your new lifestyle. This is you eating the foods that you want to regularly eat and that you start enjoying eating, and that you start realizing, oh, when I eat those foods, I'm much happier. I have more energy. And for me, that's really important. People like to call me the Energizer Bunny, and I feel like it. because I take care of my body. So, the aligned warrior listens to their body, listens to the wisdom. Your body knows. Your body knows what it needs. It knows what it wants. And if you're struggling to follow your intuition with that, because you can follow your intuition with your body, or you could straight out ask your body. You can say, hey, body, what would you like? And you can journal about it. That's something I did in the beginning, is I journaled asking my body questions, and then I'd have my body write back to me and tell me what it wanted. And sometimes it would tell me straight up, hey, you need to give me more movement. The more you practice having a relationship with your body, the more you're going to be able to have that whole body-mind connection. And it's really awesome, because you and your body, because your body is your vessel. It's the only body you get. This is the vessel that God gave you. And you need to take care of it, because you are creating your warrior self, and your warrior you loves you. You matter. You're important. You are worth. You hear me. Hear me right now. You are worth it. You are worth having the body that you want. You are worth having the movement, the energy, all of that you want. You're worth it, because you matter. And the more you care about your body, and the more you do the things that your body craves, the more happy you are. I swear, because you are finally taking care of you and listening to you and saying, you know what? I love myself enough that I'm going to give myself foods that make me feel good, not feel good in the head. Well, they will eventually, but not the quick dopamine, right? With the sugar and stuff. It's lasting, because slow and steady wins the race. So you are eating for a warrior now. You're not eating for an emotional being or whatever other reason. You are eating intentionally to fuel your body. Okay, so hopefully that came across the way I wanted it to. Okay, so movement. Okay, we're going to talk about this. Food and movement are not punishment. Maybe before you were like me and you came from a place you approached dieting and exercising as a place of punishment. You are punishing yourself. That's not fun. Who wants to get up and work out in the morning, or go to the gym, or or go on a walk or whatever? It's not fun. And you're just like criticizing yourself the same. And who wants to eat, some grapes if you don't. You got to approach it from a better place. So a warrior doesn't work out for punishment. They train, because you're a heart warrior, and you're fighting for your heart. You're fighting for your body. You're fighting for your mind. That's why I call the person that you're embodying a warrior, because I see that. I see that you are fighting, because you know what? It's not easy. You know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. It's not easy changing your thoughts. It's not easy changing your food. It's not easy changing your habits. It's not. So why not be a warrior? Because come on. If you're not going to fight for you, who's going to fight for you? You got to fight for you. So movement is so important. I don't care what movement you do. I suggest weightlifting, because weightlifting, there's a lot of scientific stuff. However, weightlifting, one, you get a sexy ass body, okay? And two, what we lose muscle as we get older. And so you're able to keep what you got and probably even gain more, because when I first started weightlifting, well, before I started weightlifting, I couldn't even lift a gallon of milk, although I had just been through chemo and different stuff. I had to work up to where I am now. Now, am I as strong as I'd like to be? No, but it's a practice. And if you want my workout plan, I'll give it to you. But again, and I only work out 2 days a week, weightlifting 2 days a week. Can you believe that? I've got these guns, like only 2 days a week. Sometimes 3, but mostly, I'll be honest, 2 days a week. And so, let's see. Okay, so weightlifting is really good for you, and it's the best way for you when you are consciously paying attention to what you're putting in your mouth and you're changing the way you eat, prioritizing protein. When you're releasing fat, then muscle goes along with that, unless you're weightlifting. And us as women, we struggle with our hormones and all of that stuff. So until I started weightlifting, I held on to weight. Like for some reason, and then I started weightlifting and bam, it just started coming off. And I didn't change anything else. I kept doing all my other things that I've been teaching you throughout this course. Okay, so you need to, if you don't have a workout plan, identify one and have some type of resistance training in it, even if it's just once a week. Okay. All right. So to ensure consistency with movement, it's got to be something that's fun. That's why I put this little dancing, like, I thought she was a fairy, but I guess she's just a dancer with a little thing, but it looks fun to me. You got to move your body in a fun way, something that you're going to enjoy and that you're going to like. So for me, I didn't like weightlifting at first. I didn't find it fun. So I had to create the fun. So I was like, oh, okay, how do I create the fun? Oh, well, my kids were going. And then we would invite people to come to the gym with us or different stuff. And so I would just like use it as social hour because I'm a social butterfly. And I would be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to socialize with people while in between working out. So it's like in between my set, I would just like talk to the people who were there with us. And it was really great. Like, it was a really good bonding time with my kids. And now my kids, they all do their own workout plan, and it's just me and Brandon that work out together. But that's okay, because I built that habit of going to the gym twice a week. And so now I just do it. I consciously just go, and I find other ways to have fun. Like I have a fun little game I'll tell you guys that I like to do at the gym. So when Brandon's on the machine and I'm just kind of looking around and doing whatever, I will just be like, okay, how many people can I spot that are wearing pink? Or how many people can I spot that are, whatever. I make up little games while I'm there to make it fun for me. So yeah, so make whatever you're doing fun, okay? Because that's important. Oh, okay. So when you're creating your routine, we talked about having a morning routine. If you add exercise to your morning routine or your evening routine, going to the gym is my evening routine. On Mondays and Wednesdays. That's why my lives are on Tuesdays. And sometimes on Fridays I work out. But those are my set days. I have it set in my calendar, and I know that time is blocked off. That time is my time. Like, that is what I'm doing. I have pre-decided, just like I had you pre-decide who you are, you can pre-decide anything you want and help yourself stay on track by making the decision before. So a lot of the time, what I was doing when I was still practicing eating like a warrior, I would pre-decide what I was going to have that day or the day before. I would pre-decide, and then I would do all the prepping for it or whatever that morning or the day before, or whenever. Now I intuitively eat and I don't pre-decide. I've gotten to the point where I'm very in tune with my body and very in tune to the point where I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not hungry. So, or I'm only hungry for just like a little bit of something, like a little snack, or it's like, oh my gosh, I'm starving. I better make sure I eat, like, make a big thing of chicken or whatever. So before, I just would like plan the meals and I would just eat them, and I wasn't in tune with my body. I would just eat. Now I've realized that was teaching my brain that you just eat at a certain time. There's these cute little adults that I get to go take out on fun activities, and they have a disability. They're Down syndrome, and they have this thing where they can only, like, doesn't matter if they're hungry or not, because they're so set in routine that when it hits noon, they don't want to eat before noon for lunchtime. But as soon as it hits noon, then they're like, oh, it's lunchtime. Let's eat, whether they're hungry or not. And that's how I used to be. And I'm like, oh, we are creatures of habits, and we train ourselves. So we train ourselves with either bad habits or good habits. So it's all about training yourself, but you can't even begin to train yourself unless you first set up rules for yourself. Because you're in charge of you, just like your parents used to have rules for you. Well, now it's time for you to have rules for you that you decide and that you live by. Okay. The other thing is, we don't move our bodies to burn calories. Like, that's not our goal. Our goal is to move our body to become stronger, to train. We are training for war. For some reason, like, when I think that in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm a warrior and I'm training for battle. Like, it makes me focus a little bit more on my workout, but that's just me. You do whatever you want, and whatever is going to get you, making it fun or whatever. Okay. Because like I said, movement is important. Okay. So your next mission is to practice emotional sovereignty during every meal, and check in with yourself and make sure that you're eating with, like I said, if you want to have a donut, it's okay. But make that conscious decision. I am having a donut. I'm having the donut because I want a freaking donut. I'm not eating the donut to stuff emotions. I'm eating the donut because it's yummy and I want one. Oh, I want the grapes because I like grapes and they're yummy and I'm going to eat them and they're good for me. Make the tie something to it so that it doesn't, tie something to it. Basically, like I said, I don't want you to come from a place of guilt or shame or think, oh, this is bad food or this is good food. There is high vibration food and lower vibration food. And you're going to start to figure that out as you're investigating. And being an investigator, you're going to start figuring out, oh, this food actually works better for me. So you have your pictures of your food and your drinks. Start paying attention to how much water you drink. And then I want you to start noticing your emotions around those foods that you're eating. Consciously start noticing. That's all. Just start noticing your emotions and how that food makes you feel. And if you're getting stuck in certain patterns around certain food, this is very important for your brain. This fun, it's not work, it's fun. It's fun to find out more about yourself. This is really important for your brain and for your body and for your whole overall mental health, because the more we become aware of our thoughts, the more we can either redirect them or we can sit and analyze them and be like, oh, maybe I need to take a break. Maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I've been stressing myself out. Maybe I need a meditation. Maybe I need a bath. That was me today. I hurt my shoulder and building a greenhouse. Anyway, that's the whole thing. I hurt my shoulder and I haven't been able to move optimally because I had hurt my shoulder. And so today I came home and I was like, oh, my shoulder hurts. And I just was like, I had all this stuff I had to get done. And I was like, no, it's okay. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. What matters is me taking care of me at this moment. My shoulder hurts and I need to go ice it and I need to go take care of me and I need to put myself back into alignment, because when you're in pain, it's hard to be in alignment. And that's the same thing. Like I said, with the food, you'll start noticing certain things, like might give you a little bit of a tummy ache. You'll be like, oh, maybe I'm not in alignment with that food. It gives me a little bit of a tummy ache. Or maybe it gives you a little inflammation, or it raises your blood sugar. Like me, I can feel when my blood sugar raises and I'm like, oh, I don't like that feeling when my blood sugar goes a little high. I'm not diabetic, but I can just feel it like now, because I'm so in tune with my body and so in tune with the foods that are in alignment with my body. But with that being said, I am not perfect. Okay? So don't think you have to be perfect, because I'm still practicing and I'm still embodying that. So sometimes I know dairy gives me a bunch of inflammation. And, I just have to own that decision, because I'm not going to shame myself for giving myself inflammation later. I'm just going to own it and be like, well, I had the dairy. I wanted it. Own your decisions. Okay, so let's see. So keep taking pictures of your food, track your emotions with it, figure out a workout plan, and just start practicing self-love. Okay. And I love you and thank you for being on this live, and we'll see you next time.